It's interesting because I've written a lot. I have done a lot of videos on this whole Russia red baiting. And
Yeah,
I tweeted, if Democrats would replace every other email I get on Russia and whatever New York Times piece they're citing with Flint, East Chicago, or Standing
yep,
Rock,
yep,
they'd be in a whole lot better position in terms of the constituencies they need to reach.
yep,
Not just. I'm not talking just political strategy. It's just that is where the real scandals are.
right.
People still can't drink water in Flint.
Yeah,
Indiana, East Chicago, another poor black neighborhood that, by the way, the vice president, when he was governor, ignored.
of course.
Lead poisoned. Obviously, as we speak, the camp is getting raiding in Standing Rock. To me, it's an intentional distraction because they know if they don't focus on the Russian boogeyman, then they need to actually do an autopsy and find out why did we lose, which brings us back to the money. Do you think if and by the way, it's also Elizabeth Warren. I mean,
Yeah,
let's keep it real. Elizabeth Warren, she was shut down to speak on the Senate floor. Correctly so. She protested and people galvanized around her. She sent out fundraising emails. It seems to me, instead of sending fundraising emails out, they need to be sending emails to try to do town halls with millennials, to try
yeah.
to do town halls with blue collar workers. Assuming you're not going to win, what do you think the path forward is? It might be Perez as DNC chair, even if Ellison wins, which would be a positive, I think. It's not like they're gonna open the gates and say, "All right,
Right,
take us to the promised land, progressives."
right. No, so I mean, you're correct. And the thing about it being between Keith and Tom, I think personally, as like individuals, those two guys, they've had a long storied career, and I think their hearts, like their personal beliefs, are in the right place. But they choose to allow their hands to be tied. Keith Ellison could have easily been the poster child for progressivism. He has literally every endorsement under the sun, to include unions, to include Bernie, to include Tulsi, and all these people, right? He could, honestly, if he had been saying and doing what I've been doing, I would have never entered this race. I would have actually just gone out of my way to support the man, but he didn't. And then Tom Perez, again, he did what he could as Secretary of Labor. I do not want to smear the man, but he is clearly the establishment pick, which is part of the problem. Either one of those two people in the chair fundamentally sends a message that we are not willing to change. So first of all, you're right. There is no change. So how do we move forward? If either of those two win and I don't, or if Pete doesn't win, Pete Buttigieg, we have to start looking big picture. We have the Justice Dems. We have the new 535. We have Dem Exit, Dem Enter. We have Draft Bernie and countless other movements, to include the DAPL protests, Women's March, Black Lives Matter. We have all these things that are wonderful. They're perfect. They're growing every single day, but they're not united. They're not working in parallel, let alone together. And I think that's the biggest problem. And I caught a little flack for this. So let me be clear. I absolutely support progressive movements. I absolutely support third parties. The issue is we're too small, we're too fragmented, and we're not strong enough yet to actually replace the Democratic Party. We're getting there. We're growing. But we need to literally have a powwow, a sit down. The Young Turks, the 535. I mean, everybody needs to sit down and be like, look, this is an opportunity. We don't have to be a singular hero, but we have to work together. There are way too many seats, way too many positions open to make it around one person or one organization. This has to be a group project where we just come in and kick some ever-living ass, because we are the biggest voting bloc right now, progressives and independents. I mean, that is it. If we all voted for our person, despite the ballot access, despite the gerrymandering, despite all that BS, which I can speak from personal experience is real, we can do it. We can take back every single seat in the House. We can take over, 33 seats in the Senate, however many governorships, however many state legislators that are up for grabs too, and all the way down to frickin' school board. If we want to affect change, we absolutely can. But we have to get organized. And I want to be a part of that, win, lose, or draw, the DNC chairmanship. And I'm actually already trying to get that discussion going forward. I would welcome you to the table. I'd welcome everybody who is in a leadership position for now to come together to kind of direct the message out forward so that we have this centralized base. so that we can start, literally doing the job that needs to be done.
Yeah. And before I ask my next question, just for the audience to stop asking me, no, I will never run for political office. Not happening. So get it out of your head. I think I could do more this way. Anyway,
Sure.
your point is a good segue, because I think overall, forget the mechanisms of whether it's Green Party or Justice Dems or all of the things you mentioned. I've seen since the primary ended kind of this troubling shift towards groupthink,
Yeah.
where because people were upset people were upset and angry. I see it even in the viewer comments. Because people were rightly angry at what happened, the rigging of the game, in many cases, I think election fraud. If someone like Cenk, for example, pushed forward, not pushed for Hillary, but said, listen, I think this guy is Stalin. I'm going to hold my nose and vote for her. It was, oh, you're a sellout. That person's a sellout. And I think that's dangerous, because I think what's so great about progressive values and the progressive movement is you don't all have to collectively think the same thing. Now, people are entitled to their opinion, but I see, even in conversations I had, I won't name names, but I just had something over the weekend, somebody attacking me about the Justice Democrats. I'm not even involved with the Justice Democrats. I haven't even read the platform, but attacking me that it's taking away from other things. And I said, listen, the bottom line is we got to win. We have to win. So what has the best chance of winning? And I just wanted to hear your thoughts, because when I read the comments and I hear people, it seems like people are taking frustration and anger about corruption and politics, and saying, all right, well, this progressive group doesn't totally agree with my progressive group. They're sellouts.
Exactly. And I brought that up. I mean, at first I was sort of divisive in my rhetoric at the Houston and the Detroit forums, and then I toned it down again, but focused it on this whole unity concept. And you're right. And it is frustrating, because not only is there divide and extremism, right, but it's also sensationalism. It's Bernie or bust. It's Tulsi or bust. It's this or bust. They're even doing Sam Ronan and bust, for crying out loud, which, hey, I am flattered. Don't get me wrong. But it defeats the purpose. Like you just said, it has to be about this cohesion. And this
I don't want to interrupt you. I'm not talking about uniting with Tom Perez and establishment folks.
No.
Yeah.
No. We're on the same page there. I'm saying this purity contest among progressives and liberals and blah, 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 that is hurting us just as badly as having crap leadership in office already. Like you said, we have different opinions. I'm military. I'm going to have different opinions on certain things. For instance, the war in the Middle East. Surprisingly, I don't think we should be there, right? But there's plenty of veterans who think we should be in there. But the argument is our presence going to help or hurt the war on terror? Is the war on terror a winnable war? The answer is no, because we're fighting a war against an ideology. Yet, that might fly with some progressives, but then there's some other progressives like, no, we have to be over there. We have to fight for blah, blah, blah. And it's just maddening that we can't even see past these singular issues when we realize that at the bottom line, we are all screwed. That 99%, whether you're Republican, whether you're liberal, whether there's something in between, we are all being screwed over. So we have to look at what unites us, which is being A, an American citizen, and B, a conscientious member of society. Those two things are extremely important. And the other thing people fail to realize is surrounding yourself with only people that you agree with limits your perspective. And in a governing position, specifically in the legislature or as a governor or as a mayor, you have a diverse culture, a diverse community that you must lead. And you have to focus on the big picture. You might be pissing off every single one of your constituents, but if at the end of the day, whatever it is you're doing benefits 99% of them, then it's a good decision. And that decision is not going to be the same in rural Ohio as it is in Los Angeles. It's not going to be the same in Seattle, Washington as it is in BFE, Alabama. So we have to understand that even within our party and our belief systems, we have to understand that different parts of the country have different beliefs, different cultures, different backgrounds. You're not going to get rid of guns. You're not going to legislate the Second Amendment in the South. It's not going to happen. That doesn't mean you're a sellout because you're a Democrat, you're a progressive running in the South on a pro-Second Amendment platform. That means you're being realistic. You can still talk about regulating firearms. You can talk about improving use of force laws. You can talk about holding law enforcement accountable. These are all reasonable things that even conservatives would agree with. It's just when you make it an attack, or when you skew the conversation to whatever extreme left or right position, that's when it becomes a problem. We need to have a conversation, and that's not what we've been having.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think there's a difference between, standing up strong and not playing ball with the Chuck Schumers of the world, the Nancy Pelosi of the world. I've been outspoken, love Bernie Sanders, think his strategy is awful. I've been public. I don't like what he's doing in terms of that. But in terms of the progressive movement, I think we all need to stop vilifying, each other's movements and just, listen, it's America. We could all have our own activism, our own groups, and may the most successful succeed.